Italian opening. Knight f6, d3. So far so good. h6, defending bishop g5. I think that's good. And knight c3, bishop c5, bishop to e3. I will actually castle first. And if black castle, and I mean, rook bishop e3 is fine. But I would consider something like a4, b4 to kick the bishop, and later bishop to b2, attack the e file. This is something I will also go after. Trading the bishop make the simplify the game, which usually favors black, because at the opening, at the beginning, white is slightly better. So if we simplify the game, if we trade pieces, trade too many pieces, that favors black. Take d6 and h3. Castle, yeah. It's good to make the king safe. Knight b4. Instead of knight b4, I will move knight to a5, because I really want to trade my knight with this light square bishop. This light square bishop is really strong. If you move here, I can keep attacking that until you move to b3. I can trade the knight with bishop. So it's a good trade for black, since the c4 bishop is so strong in Italian opening. And also the problem with the knight b4 is if white play a3, the knight has to go back again. So it wasted one move in piece development. d4, attack the center, take the pawn. And I will actually keep the pawn as it is, because after I take it, white resolved this double pawn problem. And if I take my pawn, I can take it back, and the double pawn is still there. They are back pawns, so it's good to keep the pawns like it is for black. So after the trade, queen e7, rook e1, a6, e5. Take, knight takes. I will take that with the pawn, to be honest, because the pawn can attack the knight. What about the queen c5? I can move the king here. If you take my bishop, I can take that. And this pawn will make the black king exposed. Because if you take that, the g file will be open. If you take that, I can move the rook to e4 and later to attack h6. So e5 is something we can do. And then if the knight moves away, we can move the knight further in to attack the queen at the center. So take that with the pawn. And I think black shouldn't take that. Black should move the king to d6 and attack this pawn instead. So after the exchange, this is what I showed you earlier. So the pawn kicked the knight. And if you move the knight away, knight b d5, the white knight will occupy the center. And if you don't move the knight, for example, queen to c5, king moves. If you take the bishop, the white pawn will expose the black king. Knight e8, knight e5. Knight e5 is a little early. We can move the king to h1 first, or queen d4 first, because if you move the knight right away, actually queen c5. There's this is not winning material necessarily. You can move the knight back, but your knight will retreat from the center. So it's good to make this to solve the problem at this diagonal first, and then knight d5. But black didn't move the queen to c5. Oh, queen e6 is bound there. Knight f6, that's a really good move, and that's a discover attack. And white won material. Bishop to d5, c6. Can we just take the pawn? We can win the pawn, right? Okay, white is trading pieces. Yeah. c5, c3, knight e4. Okay, there is a queen g4. We can fork these two pieces. So yeah, maybe c4 is better. Queen e3, that's good. Okay, the knight is pinned, and we should keep adding pressure on that. If f5, I would consider something g4, because if you take that, I can take your knight. Queen d5, lose a pawn. Take there is a fork, right? Knight e2. So I think I would take I just want to simplify the game. Trade maybe the queen with the rook, and we will have a rook, and white is definitely winning. Knight e2 is a beautiful move. And now white is a little hard to win. Because after losing the rook, even though white has like piece advantage, but as long as these two pieces can protect each other, so for example move the rook to f6 and the knight somewhere to g6, just makes pieces together, and if they can protect each other, black can secure a draw. Okay, queen e4 is a good move to fork the knight. I think black should check the king and also make the rook safe first and knight to e5, and these two pieces can be safe. h4. Okay. Oh no, king g4 is not good. So I think white can spend much more time to, for example, check the king. If the king has to go to either g8 or h8, and there is a fork, queen e8, and white can win the rook. And now the rook is well protected. Now it becomes hard to win. Oh no! Be careful of the skewer. We can remove the queen to here, for example. And now I think black's winning, right? We can play h5. You have to take that and g4. If you take yours, and the pawn can promote. Oh, I think we can push the king to h2 and promote. No, g4 is not correct. We can move king to h3 and king to h2. With this check, we just make the white king to a better position. Yeah, then that's a draw. Yes, that's it.